Hello everybody, Tracy Sizemore here, and this is RPG A Day 2018, Day 5. Um, so let's see, the question for the day is favorite recurring NPC, and I've really had to sit and think about this for a while. And it wasn't because I had like a huge well to go to there, because again my memory of games and what happens in games is not very great. So I went for what the question goes for, which is most memorable, the lowest hanging fruit there. We were playing a campaign of 50 Fathoms, which is a Savage Worlds setting written by Shane Hensley, and run by Daryl Hayhurst. And one of the NPCs that we encountered, that's basically a pirate type game, where you're out to save a world that's eventually going to drown. It takes a while for the world to drown, but eventually it's going to drown, and so you as the PCs have to find a way to prevent that from happening. Otherwise, most of you are going to die. Not all of you, though, and that brings me to a little bit the NPC that I'm talking about. So while we're on the seas of Charybdis, which is the world we're in, wandering around, we end up picking up a boat, a small boat with a kahana in it, and a kahana in 50 Fathoms is basically a horrifying, mean mermaid, almost. Not really, but sort of. They're very mean, and they're unpleasant, and in general, and they sort of don't care about much. So we had a PC who was playing one, and she is perfectly suited for playing a character like this, because she can embrace the nasty, and yet still find a way to be a PC that works with the party. So anyway, that was Dawn Hayhurst, Daryl's sister. She was playing the PC Kahana. But we picked up this boat with a Kahana in it. And his name was Walleye. And Walleye, from the very get-go, was interested in telling us about his friend Angus, who was a ways away from us at that point, who needed saving. We've got to save Angus. Please help me save Angus. We must save Angus. And we were like, yeah, dude, cool, Angus. Okay, maybe we'll get there. Anyway, get on the boat, because we can't let you wander around in this lifeboat in the middle of the ocean. You're going to get yourself killed. So while I came aboard, and I was the captain of our ship, I was, the captain of our party, in as much as anybody listened to me. And so we had Walleye on board for a while, and we kept telling him, like, yeah, we'll get to Angus sometime. He's over there? Good. Okay. That's on the other side of the world, so hold your horses. We're getting there. And so in the meantime, Daryl's sister, Dawn, who's playing the other Kahana, sort of felt like there was a kinship there, and took an interest in Walleye. And she ended up eventually taking Walleye as a sidekick. And a sidekick or a follower, one of those. And so Walleye became an NPC still, controlled by Daryl, but in combat, controlled by Dawn. So, Walleye had his own personality that was Daryl's, but it was Dawn who controlled what he did when it came to encounters. And so Walleye and Dawn's character ended up getting along, and she took him on as a follower or a sidekick or whatever. And we went for, I don't know how long, forever, basically stringing this poor guy along, saying, yeah, we're going to get to Angus. Angus is going to be fine. Anytime we brought up Angus, you know, Walleye would come in, you know, he's like, Angus? Are we going to go get Angus? Angus is over here. Yes, Angus. We have to go get Angus. He needs to be saved. And we just waited forever, knowing full well that Angus was probably dead by that point. But, I mean, we just never, I mean, it's not like we actively avoided it. We just weren't in the area. We just did not make a point to visit the area where Angus was. Eventually, near the end of the campaign, and this was, you know, weeks and weeks and weeks later, we finally found ourselves in the area. It was like, oh, yeah, I guess we better go check on Angus. And so, and, you know, Wally's like, yes, Angus, we must go get Angus. And we finally did go check on him. I don't remember now whether Angus was dead or not. I think he wasn't. I think that Daryl was nice to us, and Angus was still alive. And so we ended up dealing with that problem, which was not easy to deal with, I might add. It was super dangerous, and we were sort of glad that we waited, because we had some advancements under our belt before we ended up going and taking care of that problem. But it made Walleye happy. But anyway, I don't do it justice, but Daryl's portrayal of Walleye was fantastic, as is usual for his NPCs. And it was fun, because we would just, I mean, not only are we putting Walleye in horrific danger on a week-to-week basis by having him, you know, be our meat shield. Well, Dawn came to care about him quite a bit, so she took care of him, but he was thrown into the mix quite often. But we also ignored his entire reason for existence, which is to tell us about this adventure that was all the way on the other side of the map, which we basically ignored until the end of the campaign. So anyway, I think that is probably my favorite recurring NPC, Walleye, the Kahana from Charybdis. And I guess that's it for the day, so I'll talk to you tomorrow.